So Donald Trump has been indicted and his mugshot was taken in Fulton County last week. And the irony behind it is both Republicans and Democrats both want merch with his mugshot on it. That's the only thing they can settle for. They both want the mugshot.
The mug shit.
The mugshot.
They want the mug shit.
They want the mugshot.
Yeah, not the mug shot. That was great.
Man,
That was almost a perfect
it was
joke.
almost perfect.
I think you made it better actually by saying that. Let's say you did that on purpose.
Let's say that.
That joke was amazing.
Thank you.
It's good to be here.
Good to be. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being here. Welcome to Epic Thoughts. My friend Charlie Battaglia.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to be back on Epic Thoughts with the one and only Roman Merchant.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for coming
so
on short
last
notice.
minute.
Yeah.
Roman, he texted me this morning at about 9:25 a.m. I was getting my first cup of coffee of the day. This is my second. And he said, "Hey, I know it's last minute, but would you be down to do Epic Thoughts today?" And I immediately responded, yes.
It was immediate. It was really quick.
Yeah, because today's a good day for me to do Epic Thoughts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting your first cup of coffee.
I
I was laying on my face.
Yeah.
Because I had finished working out.
Yeah.
And I was not feeling good.
Oh man, how you feeling now?
I still feel icky.
By the time this podcast is over, man, you're gonna feel like a different person.
Hopefully.
Because of all we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good things to talk
There's
about.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot going on. What's going on?
Where can we start? Let's start with Trump.
Okay. Trump's a great guy. I like him.
I know you do. That's why I was.
He got his mugshot taken recently. Yes. And what was he indicted for this time? Something about election. Well, I don't even know if we could talk about that. So I want to be careful with what I say because I don't want this to be banned. Oh, yeah. You got to be very careful with the words that you say out there.
Is that what he's indicted for? I thought this was the girl thing.
It was for false claims about the 2020 you know what.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what he was indicted for. He got his mugshot taken. It was a pretty funny mugshot. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's become quite the viral meme all over the internet, which I think is hilarious.
It is
and
hilarious.
A lot of people, I feel like I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I don't even know if people get mad anymore. Like when you show your support for a presidential candidate. I think everybody just thinks it's funny at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we already got all of our feelings, all of our emotions out of the way during 2020, 2021, 2022. And I think at this point, it's like, you know what? I think we're finally getting back around to just say whatever the hell you want to say, you know, as long as you really believe in it and you really stand for it. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care who you like. I don't care who you're a fan of. As long as you have a passion for it, let your voice be heard, because as far as I'm concerned, they're really trying to quiet the American voice.
They really
regardless of what side that you're on. And I think it's up to us as Americans to stand firm. And I think that's really what's going to bring us together, especially in times like these, is everybody using their voice, because there's good and there's bad on both sides. And I think everybody really needs to say what they believe in, and everybody needs to speak up so that we could all come to some sort of agreement, some sort of unity.
Yeah.
There's a guy I like right now who's out and he's pretty hot, and he's a Democrat, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's a great guy, you know, and he's really up in the polls, and they're saying he may even be the nominee to go against Trump. And I think a lot of what he stands for is really cool and really positive. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with, but he's one of those candidates that has to pick a side because he's running in the election. But if you really look at what he's into, he's got a lot of good stances on both sides, especially when it comes to freedom of speech, freedom of choice medically, and freedom of just saying things the higher ups don't want you to say because they'll block you out if you say it, you know.
The crazy thing is, clearly he's related to John F. Kennedy. So the scary thing is, it sounds like a lot like John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And his stands like that were probably some of the reasons why he got assassinated in the first place.
Right. And I don't know if they can really assassinate people anymore, because I think it's too obvious. I think everything that's gone on in the last, few decades in terms of assassinations, assassination attempts, it's all kind of been uncovered to a certain extent. I mean, everybody knows that it was an inside job at this point, Yeah. And I think that's why killing somebody now is just too obvious. They got to go about it in other ways, like indicting them or arresting them or ruining their reputation, which in the long run only really ends up helping the person because a lot of people see that it's not, true.
Do you think that this is because here's my I don't have a thought yet.
Okay.
Because it's been such a slow moving thing.
Yeah.
And I really won't have a grasp of what's happening politically until January.
Right.
When the campaigns really get to going
Mm-hmm.
and people start weeding out. And because I don't get information.
Right.
Because normally, like my parents, it would always get something from the Democrats, like,
Right.
hey, these are the things we're fighting for. And I'm so focused on getting Newsom out of California, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm actually rooting for him
Right.
to run for president.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he would have to let California go.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
a fan of.
he would have to stop paying attention for a while, which I don't think it would be a smart thing to do. I think that's where Ron DeSantis messed up. He was doing really good in Florida, and then he kind of abandoned Florida to run for president, and now he's just an all-around disaster because a lot of the truth came out about him, and now a lot of people in Florida don't even like him anymore. And he's he should have been right behind Trump in the polls, but now he's number 3, number 4, and in some cases number 5 in the polls. And it's just not looking very good for him. And I don't know if you watched the Republican debates, but it was a shit show.
Was it?
I mean, the whole thing was hilarious to watch because they all try to be Trump, when they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone starts with, I'm not a politician. And it's sorry to say, but you are a politician. Even when Trump says it, I laugh sometimes because he is a politician.
Yes.
He's a president. He ran a campaign.
That's
Therefore, that makes you a politician.
Yeah.
Now, whether you're a good politician or a bad politician, we'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody on that stage was a politician. And to try to get up there and bully everybody and suck the air out of the room, nobody did a good job at that, which I think it was smart for Trump not to show up to that Republican debate because I think everybody knows what he stands for, and he knows that people are going to either vote for him or not.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of already got the nomination in the bag if they don't arrest him or do something worse before then. But I don't think they will. I think he's got his, I think there's a lot of prayers going out towards him. And I think that I'm optimistic. I know you're never optimistic, but I'm always optimistic about the comeback of this country, whether it's Trump or not. I don't really put my faith in a person. I put my faith in God. Yeah. And I really trust God to choose the next person who's going to lead us out of this shithole that we're in. And I really think it's turning around.
Do you think it might be Trump though?
Definitely.
You think?
I just like him. A lot of people don't like him because of his personality, and they'll say, "Oh, I'll vote for him because I like what he stands for," and which is cool. But I honestly think he's just a funny guy, and I think he's got a lot of charisma when it comes to working with world leaders. A lot of world leaders feared him when he was in office. Vladimir Putin didn't even think about coming against America. And when he did, Trump threatened him back, and whether Putin believed it or not, he didn't start anything. And Kim Jong-un, Trump was the first president to meet with Kim Jong-un and cross over into North Korea. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. That was history breaking.
Yeah.
And yet a lot of people are still against him for the way he acts in terms of his personality, in terms of some of the things he said in the past, which are not good things by any means.
Yeah.
However, I don't think we should judge a person based on their past. I mean, I think God can use people where they're at. I think God can use you where you're at. I mean, half the people out there know what you've said in your past. You probably wouldn't want it to be public.
Absolutely.
I know I wouldn't want it to be public, and thank God it's not public. Someday it might be, who knows? And when that happens, you just got to kind of take it from there. But I think God used Moses for a greater purpose, and Moses was a murderer. Moses was a mean person, he was sought revenge, and God used him for his greater purpose. God used Noah, and Noah was a drunk. God used David. David was an adulterer. I mean, God uses all these imperfect people for his perfect plan. So I think when people are so quick to dismiss somebody like Trump, or so quick to dismiss somebody that is really fighting for the greater good, they got to be careful and take a back seat and think, okay, was the country better when we had this person in office? And you might have a different opinion than I do. I happen to agree that it was. And if you don't, that's okay. But I agree that it was. And so I'm not going to really pay attention to his past because I think that you got to forget about the past and push on towards the future. And I hope somebody would do the same with me. And I know you hope somebody would do the same with you, because at the end of the day, we're all people.
Yeah.
And we just got to follow God's lead and his path for our life, because he doesn't want anybody to perish. He doesn't want Joe Biden to perish. I hope Joe Biden finds God. He doesn't want Trump to perish. I hope Trump finds God. We're all supposed to be helping each other find the Lord and get back on the right path to greatness.
Yeah. Great stuff. That's why Charlie's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. And you can catch my new show, Bible Time with Charlie, on Tuesdays.
Oh, there we go. That's a segue.
It's today. That's why I'm really happy that you called me today, because I don't know if you knew it or not, but I actually launched my new show today, Bible Time with Charlie, which is when we just get into the Word on a weekly basis every Tuesday. I actually started it back during the pandemic.
I remember that.
Right. You used to tune in every once in a while.
I did.
And there was nothing else to do during the pandemic. Theaters were shut down, shows were shut down. I couldn't get on any movie sets. I mean, nobody had anything to do. Everybody was locked up for what we thought was going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, 2 weeks, no problem. We could pull this through. But then, a week went by and they were saying a month. And I was like, oh, no, what am I going to do? Right. The play, I had just gotten cast in a really cool play as the lead part. I was really excited about doing it. That got canceled. So, God, what am I going to do? And he woke me up in the middle of the night and he said, hey, Charlie, I want you to go on Instagram in the morning and I want you to go live and I want you to tell all of your followers about me. And I didn't want to do that. I'm going to be honest. And I said it on my show. You'll always know God is telling you to do something when you don't want to do it. And so I got up the next morning and I did it. I didn't want to do it. It felt really uncomfortable. I didn't even know what I was going to read. But God just said, read your favorite verses. Just go live on Instagram and read your favorite verses. And pretty soon the Holy Spirit will take over. And that's exactly what happened. And I did it every single morning, Monday through Friday, for about 3 or 4 months.
You did every day?
Every day, Monday through Friday, because there was nothing else to do. And then things started to kind of open again. So I moved on from it. I got really involved in the church. We started American Cheese. So we got busy doing that kind of stuff, which I don't regret, because I think there's a time and a season for everything. And I think it had ridden its course back then. But now just recently, people have started to ask me about it. And Kyle McRae, actually, Cold Hard Cam, who does the Black Kyle podcast on Heritage Park and produced by them. He told me we were at a restaurant maybe a month ago. I think you were there too. It was after one of our shows. And he said, Charlie, you need to start Bible Time with Charlie again. And I didn't even know he knew about that. But he said, no, it's time to start Bible Time with Charlie again. So I kind of just rubbed it off and I was like, all right, whatever. Well, then a couple of weeks went by, we did the play that we just wrapped. And my dad was preaching on a Monday night, I believe. It was a Bible study. And I'm, doing the camera like I usually do. He looks over the pulpit and he looks right at me and he says, Charlie, it's time to start Bible Time with Charlie again. You really touched a lot of people when you did that. And it's true. A lot of people reached out to me during that time and either found the Lord or got a closer relationship with them. And so I said, you know what? Okay. So a week after that, I got a crew together and it's a little bit different this time around. We film episodes in advance now, like 30-minute episodes. Yeah. And we put them out on YouTube now every Tuesday morning. And, we put reels out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. This just launched today. So I'm kind of seeing how it all goes, which is going really well so far. But every Tuesday from here on out, there will be a new episode of Bible Time with Charlie at youtube.com/Bible Time with Charlie.
Nice.
So
when you first, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
You were concerned when you first did it. Did you have any pushback? Did anybody give you any negative comments? Did you lose friends from it?
I didn't really lose friends from Bible Time with Charlie, the live aspect of it. However, once I started to get more involved in the church, and this was at a time where everything was really, really heating up. I became ordained a pastor.
Yeah.
Even my own girlfriend at the time wasn't too happy about it. And I was getting involved with more politics and saying what I really thought I had to believe in, because everybody was really on edge at that time. And then that's kind of when I started to not lose followers. I don't like to say that, but a couple of friends, I lost a couple of friends through that. Yeah. A lot of stuff started coming about just different things that have to do with the Word of God concerning like homosexuality, for example. Like that's a sin.
Mhm.
And once people found out that I believed that and I was vocalizing that opinion, you lose a lot of friends, especially in the theater community,
Mhm.
when you do that kind of stuff. But you can't be afraid of that these days. The world needs it now more than ever. The world needs God. And the world doesn't just need the, lovey-dovey kind of God, Jesus loves you kind of God. Everybody really needs to hear the truth.
Mhm.
And the truth about what the word says about things like homosexuality, what the word says about sex before marriage, what the word says about substance abuse. People really need to learn these things because people are killing themselves and don't even realize it. People are so sad and they're so depressed and they're so lonely out there because of what the media, because of what our leaders say is right. And it goes against the very word of God. And people don't understand why they're depressed. They don't understand why they're lonely or anxious or feeling down. But it's because they're engaging in that sin while still claiming to be a Christian, and it's sucking the life out of them. And we really need to, as Christians, stand up and tell people the truth, because when you love somebody, 1 Corinthians 13, love rejoices in the truth.
Mhm.
And so if you really love somebody, you'll tell them the truth, especially when they come to you and ask for it. Now, that doesn't mean you shove it down their throat. That doesn't mean you go up to every gay person and tell them that they're wrong. But if your friend happens to be gay and he comes up to you and he asks you, hey, what does the Bible say about this? You better tell him the truth,
Mhm.
because you could save that person from a life of sin. If a person comes up to you and says, hey, what do you think I'm having sex with my girlfriend? We're not married. You got to tell them the truth. If you really love that person, you have to tell them the truth, because that's what Jesus would have done. Because Jesus wasn't a really nice person all the time.
No.
Everybody always thinks he was, but Jesus told people the truth, whether they wanted to hear it or not. And he saved a lot of people because of it. And that's what we're called to do. But so many people are afraid to do it because they're afraid to lose friends. They're afraid to lose followers. They're afraid to lose their reputation. But we got to stop being afraid. The time's done to stop being afraid. I mean, God's laughing. Why are you afraid? They nailed him to a cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you think about it like that, it's kind of like, what do I really have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is nothing. You have a whole lot to gain by doing what God instructed you to do.
That's cool. I got email this morning and I thought of you. It was actually a DM. Somebody hit me in the DMs on Instagram, some person I don't know. And they asked me a question of how I felt about something. And I'll pose the question to you. Because immediately when I read it in the DM, I thought of you. I was like, I wonder what Charlie would say to this.
Let's hear it.
So the question was basically about mental health.
Okay.
And it was basically, she was like, I listened to Epic Thoughts and I found you on Instagram, blah, blah, blah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then the question was, where do I stand on, and I didn't answer her. I just realized I didn't answer her. I just read it.
We'll answer it right now.
So we're going to answer it right now.
Okay. She's
So-
probably watching. She watches
If she watches Epic Thoughts, yeah. So the question was, where does my stand on mental health and being a person of faith? Do I believe in medication, or do I believe in just standing and knowing that God is real?
Here's the thing. You want me to answer that question?
You answer, and I'll put my 2 cents after you.
Okay. I think you have to have faith to get through whatever battle you're going through, whether it be anxiety, depression, sickness.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the faith to get through it, if you read the scriptures, there's scriptures on all these things. Anxiety, whenever I used to have panic attacks and anxiety. Whenever I was feeling those things, and if they ever do try to come back, which they will, that's why you got to know your authority in Christ, and you got to know the word. Anxiety comes against you. You got to know 1 Peter 5:7, cast your anxieties on the Lord and he will care for you.
Yeah.
So that's a verse I repeat to myself. Depression comes against you. You got to know Nehemiah 8:10, the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Mm-hmm.
It's the joy of the Lord that's going to get me through this battle. The word's your sword. That's how you go into battle. If you're feeling sick, 1 Peter 2:24, by Jesus' stripes, I have been healed. That's a sealed deal. When he died on that cross 2,000 years ago, he set me free from pain, from addiction, from depression, from sickness. Now, if you really know these things, you're going to get through the battle. However, if you don't know these things and you're a new Christian and you're learning them for the first time, I'd say take your medication.
Mhm.
And I'd say listen to the doctor, take your medicine, because that could save your life. God gave us doctors for a reason. It's to help us, when maybe our faith isn't strong enough.
So I really do believe that medication isn't a bad thing. I don't believe that medicine's a bad thing. Doctors, hospitals, you'll have the far right Christians saying, don't do any of it, but then you got people dying in hospitals because they think that they don't have to take the medicine or listen to the doctor because their faith is strong enough, and yet they're weak. Obviously your faith isn't strong enough. So take the medication, take the medicine, listen to the doctors. If you don't think your faith is at that point, you can't force faith.
No.
Don't force your faith. If it's not there, if you're not really feeling it, please listen to the doctor, listen to the hospital, because they could save your life. However, if you really truly believe you're healed and you believe you could get through it with God and through faith, I think anything is possible with God. And that's how I've gotten through all of my battles.
Yeah.
I was actually born a stillborn. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
When I was born, and I don't share this story, but I should share it more often. When my mom had me, I was born dead. I wasn't breathing, and the doctor came in, and it was a code red situation. They had to rush my mom to an emergency. She had to have an emergency C-section, and when they got me out of her, I wasn't breathing, and I was dead. I was lifeless. And the doctor brought a death certificate to my dad to have him sign it so that, there would be no suing or legal problems over the fact that I was born a dead baby. And my dad refused to sign it. My dad was a new pastor at that time, and he and my mom were both really involved in the ministry that they were in. And my dad refused to sign that death certificate because he really truly believed that this wasn't going to happen. He prayed, he called the elders of the church, called the pastors of the church to pray for me, because they were also saying that they were going to lose my mom in the process as well. So my dad had to really double up and pray for both of us, but he refused to sign any certificates. So the doctors said, okay, whatever, take your time. He's probably just, has to take a moment. Within 10 minutes, I started screaming.
Wow.
After he had made all these calls. And not only was I okay, but my mom started to get better as well.
Wow.
So it really shows the power of faith and the power of prayer. When you really need God, man, your faith better activate.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's important to stay in the Word, because I think when you stay in the Word, you build your faith, and that faith really comes alive in you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important. I think God still does miracles. I think God is a God of miracles, and we just have to put our trust in Him and put our faith in Him and continue to stay in the Word. And when you stay in the Word, you really stay in that blessing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I shared it a couple of times, like sometimes when I'm preaching, but sometimes I forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because, sometimes I'll have, we as humans, we have our doubts sometimes, and we have our moments of not feeling faith filled. And God always brings me back to, you're alive today for a reason. I called you out of that for a reason. The crazy thing is the same thing happened to my dad when he was born.
He was a stillbirth too?
He was stillbirth too.
Wow.
And he was like a miracle baby. And every time I saw my, because, when moms, they stay close to their doctors that help them give birth and stuff. So every time I would see that doctor growing up, he'd come give me a big hug and he'd say, there's the miracle baby. Because, those hospitals have they keep a track of that kind of stuff. And that's what they call it. That's the term. That's the medical term is a miracle. So, so that's really what happened. And I thank God every single day for that.
Wow.
So whenever I'm going through something, I always remember what He did for me. And if He could get me through that, then He could get me through anything.
That's awesome.
And He could get anybody through anything. And I think that's why it's important for people to remember the things God has done for them in the past, especially when they want Him to do something for their future. Don't forget what God has done for you. If He got you out of that first battle, He'll get you out of the second one, third one, fourth one. He'll get you out of all of them.
Wow.
Amen.
Amen.
Getting epic.
Yeah, that's epic. So for the lady that asked the question, I can't even remember your name.
Yeah.
But there's your answer right there.
I hope that was a good answer. I think that's a fair answer.
I think it's
What
fair.
do you think about it?
I think, actually, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I think you'll know. I feel like, for example, I went to the doctor because I think now I'm at the point right now where I think the doctor's trying to figure out if there's something wrong. Because I got this inkling that either they're trying to find something wrong or they're trying to milk to get money. Because sometimes what people don't know is they will prescribe medication because they get paid for prescribing medication.
Right.
You know, so you gotta be very leery. I'm extremely leery when somebody tries to give me medication,
Yeah.
especially for something that, in my opinion, is fixable.
Right.
So I've been going to the doctor just because I'm old, and so the last conversation, this is for the third straight time, the doctor goes, "Have you ever tried like Ozempic?" And I was like, "Ozempic, the commercial?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, that's for A1C, right? I don't have a high A1C. I have no blood pressure problems."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, you know, some people who use Ozempic end up losing weight." And I'm like, "But not in a good way, right?
Yeah.
They lose it because of something else." Well, you know, you never know. You want to try it. And at that point, I was like, I'm not taking that because one, I don't need to take medication to lose weight. I know how to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly everybody else knows how to lose weight too.
Yeah. Don't eat.
Don't eat. Don't eat and get and move
Right.
your body.
Right.
And so there was a time where I literally go, you know what? I know how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to take that medication.
Right.
You know, there's times where I've been prescribed something and I knew how to get there, either through faith or I knew that this is a change of I have to change a habit. If I
Yeah.
change a habit, I won't need this medication.
Right.
So with that being said, you had to be very mature at that point. You had to, like you said, you had to be walking with God for a while because
Yeah.
God would tell you.
Yep.
God will tell you, like, you don't need that. You need to believe.
Right.
You know, so I feel like at the end of the day, the closer you get to God, you'll start, especially when it comes to mental health.
Right.
Because I remember being young and they put me on an antidepressant because I was very sad,
Yeah.
very depressed.
Mhm.
I was manic. And they put me on a, and I was young. I had to be like 19 or 20, maybe a little bit older. And they put me on an antidepressant, but the side effects were so brutal.
Yeah.
I was lashing out, became suicidal, only to find out that those were the side effects to that medication,
Right.
to that particular medication. So I remember getting to one point where I felt suicidal. I was actually looking for the shotgun, and I had a shotgun at that time in my life. I had a
Really?
shotgun, yeah. And
What was the medication?
I don't remember, but it was an antidepressant.
Wow.
And it was underneath my bed. I had a shotgun underneath my bed, 12 gauge, pump action. It was clean. And one day I just lost it. And I remember being frustrated because I tried to shoot myself and I couldn't get to the trigger.
Oh.
And then I had a dud shell in there. And I went as far as I had a cat.
Mhm.
I put catnip on the trigger
So that he would.
so he would play with it
Oh my god.
and that he would set it off.
Uh-huh.
And it woke me up because I put it on the bed and I lured the cat in the room. I lived by myself at the time, so I had to be mid-20s. And the cat started messing with the trigger. And I was just waiting for him to get enough weight to pull that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear it click. And I had that jerk reaction. It was empty. It was a dead shell.
What?
It misfired or whatever.
Wow.
And I hear the click. But that woke me up to the point where I'm like, oh crap, bro, you're trying to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And immediately I jumped up like, what the hell am I doing?
Wow.
And I think that was the last time I took that medication because I was like, maybe it's this medication.
Do you really think it was the medication
Mixed
mixed with some
with
other
some
things?
other things.
That is wild, but it just goes to show that God had a plan for you, though,
Mhm.
because you should have been dead.
Should have been dead.
You should have been. I
Mhm.
mean, according to all laws of science,
Yeah.
that should not have happened.
It should not have happened.
But there's a reason that it did happen.
Because this was a clean shotgun. Like I
Yeah.
cleaned it.
wow.
It should have gone off. It should have. And it just
Wow.
didn't. And
Amen.
it was one of those
Amen.
moments. Yeah.
That's a great Roman. I
Yeah.
would have never met you, man.
I know.
Wow.
I would never met you.
And that was in your mid 20s.
Mid-20s.
Wow.
I had to be about 20, probably 25, 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a dumb thing to do, bro.
Yes.
That would have been a dumb
I've
thing
done
to
some
do.
dumb things in my life too.
Yeah.
I've done several dumb
I'm glad
things.
none of them worked.
Some of them,
Okay,
unfortunately,
no.
some of them actually have worked.
That's
and
good.
I
But not
had
the
to deal with
dumbest
it.
thing. That one
Not the
didn't work.
dumbest thing.
Yeah.
I've done some dumb stuff.
Yeah. You don't kill yourself, man.
No.
No, I'm talking to everybody out there. Just don't do it. There's so much life that needs to be lived. And I don't think people think about other people when they're going through something like that. You know,
Mhm.
it's a very selfish thing to do
It's a very selfish.
because most of the time we have so many people who love us,
Mhm.
parents, family, friends. And then when you end it, they think it's their fault. and they go through a life of tragedy.
Yeah.
They go through a life of
And
depression.
they have all these unanswered questions.
Right. Like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. How could I have stopped this?
Right. And it's never a positive thing to do on either side.
No.
And especially if you really believe in eternity. You know,
Yes.
I really don't know what God feels about that. You know, people ask, if you kill yourself, do you go to heaven? I believe you do, because I believe people who do that are mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
And if they believe in God and they've said the sinner's prayer, I think, you know, you'll get there and Jesus will be like, why did you do that? I had a plan for you. And maybe it won't be as, you know, glamorous for you up there. However, I don't think that everybody who like kills themselves, you know, goes to hell,
Mm-hmm.
basically, you know, because I really think that people who do that have a sickness and have a problem and they just haven't had the faith to get through it. But you got to really examine yourself before making a decision like that, because it could really hurt a lot of people. And I mean, not only does it hurt you, obviously, but it hurts those around you. And people start to wonder what they could have done,
Yeah.
you know, to prevent it. And that's not a good thing to do to anybody.
Yeah.
It's just not. I had a person who was, I was doing Bible time with Charlie back in the pandemic times.
Uh-huh.
And there was a kid, watched me every single day. Didn't really know about God, but was starting to learn more about God and really started to ask me questions. He would make fun of it at first, but I you know, I handled them.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's a reason you're watching, buddy, you know? So he
Yeah.
was watching every day. And he would ask me questions, and then pretty soon he'd start to enjoy it. Well, I found out recently that he actually killed himself.
Wow.
And he had a lot of problems growing up. A young kid, 22, I think, when it happened. And I just remember thinking, hopefully something I said stuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I get to see him one day in heaven. But it's just really a sad thing. You never really know what somebody's going through. I think that's why it's also important to reach out to other people, because a lot of the reason people end it for themselves is because they don't think they have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to show them that they have somebody.
Yeah.
You got to show them that they have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's why it's important to be a friend to all people, even the weird people.
Yeah.
I have a lot of weird friends,
Yeah.
and I love them, you know?
Yeah.
But it's important to keep people busy and to show them that they have purpose. So if you have the opportunity to give somebody a job or give somebody purpose who looks like they're struggling, do it. Even if it's like a volunteer, even if it's, hey, well, come work on my movie. Hey, come help us with the show that we're doing on. Come serve in the church. People need to know that they have purpose, because they do. But it's up to us to show them that they do. God works through people. So it's up to us to lead them to a greater purpose through God.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot about that time in my life. I kind of remember what triggered the depression, but I remember some of the emotions that I felt during that time, and loneliness was probably the biggest one.
Really?
Yes. And it was crazy because I was living by myself at the time. I had this 3-bedroom house. So I was probably about 27. So I had a 3-bedroom house. I was living there by myself and living the life, right? I had my own place, had a car, life was good. Some personal things had kind of screwed up, but from the outside, it looked like I had everything I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm living alone, got to pay my own bills. I always had people over. I had always had friends, but I was always alone.
Yeah.
Like the room could be filled with people. I remember one time, my house was filled with people. Carla was there, a few other people were there hanging out, and I remember getting up, walking into my bedroom, closing the door, and going to bed. And there was like 20 people in the house.
Right.
And I was done for the day.
Yeah.
And I was so lonely that I was able to exit without saying goodbye to anybody, go into my room, falling asleep.
Why do you think that was?
I've always had kind of a leadership role in
Mhm.
people's lives. And so one of the hard things about being a leadership is finding someone to be vulnerable with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and during that time, I left a mega church.
Okay.
I left the mega church, and they made me feel crappy about it. They made me feel like crap.
Yeah.
And they ended up my engagement because of it.
Wow.
Because they were like, well, he's not following God. I've literally, and when I remember leaving, and the vision that I have for Heritage Park today was birthed then. Because that's what God wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But I felt so like pastors that I loved and served for so many years were turning on me,
Right.
and it destroyed me.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like I was crap. And then the people who were coming to hang out, they're hanging out, but then on Sunday they would go to the church that I left. So I still
You
felt
feel like you're being backstabbed.
and betrayed all the time.
Yeah.
So it was a tough time. It was a whole year. I remember being a whole year, and then I started working as a youth pastor at another church during that time, and the pastor fired me because he said God told him I was gay. And I was like, I'm not gay.
That's
And
crazy.
Yeah, he literally looked me in the face. He was like, yes, the Lord told me you're gay. So the Lord
What?
told you I was gay. And he was like, yeah, the Lord told you you're gay. And I literally told him myself, I was like, I smashed a chick
Yeah.
literally last
Oh
Tuesday.
my God.
And he goes, hey, listen, I'm not going to play these games with you covering up your sexual orientation.
What?
And I was like, no, I smashed a girl because I'm not gay.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you're gay. And that's why guys don't like you here.
I like how he wasn't upset about the fact that you
No,
smashed a girl and
smashed
you
a
were the
girl.
youth pastor.
Yes.
He was upset at the
Yeah.
fact that you might be gay.
That might be gay.
But he wasn't even like really, he didn't even
think
really
twice.
know.
Yeah, he
He
didn't think
didn't have
twice.
any evidence.
No evidence.
You confessed to smashing the girl.
Yes.
That could have gotten you fired. I could have
Yeah.
understood that.
Yeah.
But being gay, like
No.
actually not being gay.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And I think because I said something in staff one day. Oh, no, I asked him because this went on for like a month.
Okay.
He kept bringing me in the office. Are you ready to confess?
What?
And I'm like, no, I'm not gay.
This sounds like a comedy sketch.
It was so real.
The
though.
next American cheese sketch.
And I was like, no, it's because I said, because, and he will say stuff to me, and I'll be like, because you think I'm gay. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so then I kept trying to figure out. So I even had my friends at the time was like, we need to figure out why this man think I'm gay.
Right.
And one dude goes, well, maybe because you talk with your hands. Was it do gay people talk
Ah.
with their hands? And they're like, no, artistic people, but he don't know because he's a brick builder.
I didn't know that was a thing that
I
gay
didn't think
people
so.
talk with their hands.
I didn't know either. So
Yeah.
I went to him and said, it's because I talk with my hands. He goes, yeah, and you're artsy.
And you're artsy?
I was like, dude.
Well, you were doing theater and stuff back then.
Uh-huh.
Kind of gay.
Yeah.
But you know,
But I didn't want to do what he wanted to do. Like
Right.
he wanted to do a boys' night where he wanted to take,
that's gay.
Yeah.
You want to take all the little boys
He
what,
wanted-
to,
he-
to like a camp
He
or
wanted
something?
no, this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to do a boys' night where he's
Oh.
have all the boys spend the night at the church.
No.
And then we wake up at 3:00 in the morning and go fishing. And I go, nah, bro.
He
That's
was
not
gay. He was gay.
he
He wanted you to confess that you guys could run away
so we
together.
can do it together.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I remember telling him, I was like, nah, don't do that, bro.
Wow.
I said, we can meet at noon and go bowling.
yeah.
And he goes, the way you handled that whole fishing trip, he forced it.
What?
And only 3 guys came. And he goes, it's because you're gay. Because if you were straight, all the other boys would have been there. Guys love fishing. I said, bro, not at 3:00 in the morning.
yeah. What?
And not hood kids. These are
No,
hood kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Nobody's like, you guys aren't fishing.
No,
that's
we're not
not just
fishing.
not happening.
we're hood kids. Like these are black kids.
Yeah.
They're not-
What? You want to take? Was he a white guy?
No, he was a big black guy, but he's
And he wanted to
old
go
school.
fishing?
He wanted to go fishing.
That's really
well, the
funny, bro.
old G's loved. My dad
Oh,
loved
yeah.
fishing.
Well, because there wasn't phones.
There wasn't
back then.
phones. There wasn't video
music.
games.
I mean,
no
there was
music.
barely music. You know. They
Yeah.
didn't have anything fun to do.
There was
so.
no access to fun.
Right. They had a river,
Right.
so they
Like-
go fishing.
Right. And
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that to him. I was like, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with nobody wants to go fishing, and we
Yeah.
don't want to do it at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let it go.
Wow.
He wouldn't let it go. And then I did. I will confess to this. So we were out there fishing, and I'm pissed because fishing is not my thing.
No.
I got my reel in there. My dad used to take me fishing. And I'd be like, Dad, don't do this to me again."
Right.
You know, I got taken in by a shark one day when I was a kid.
No.
So since then, I'm like in the Bay Area.
that would scar anybody.
Yeah. So I want to be out there.
Wow.
So, but we're in the lake up in Big Bear area, and a dead fish floats towards me.
Okay.
And I was like, this is God's way of bringing me a fish.
Uh-huh.
So I took my net, pulled that sucker out the water, and I held it up to the pastor. I was like, I got one.
I'm not gay.
I'm not gay. And he goes, you caught a fish? He was super pumped. And I was like, yeah, caught him.
And he still fired you.
And then, yeah,
Wow.
I ended up quitting.
Oh, that's good.
I actually brought my new fiance
Yeah.
to church, and I said, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
I'm marrying her tomorrow.
Wow.
And he goes, you're just covering it up.
Did you just marry that girl to prove that you weren't gay?
I think part of the problem was
Wow.
that, which is why that marriage didn't work.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's
But-
crazy. I mean, 'cause you're like definitely not still with her.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's so wild.
But he was like, I don't care. He literally said, I don't care. I was like, we're getting married tomorrow.
wow.
And I even said, we think she might be pregnant. And he goes, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's when I said to him, and then he made me keep working without paying me.
Oh, geez.
So he had me work without pay. So because I was supposed to take time off to figure out my gay stuff, but still keep coming to work.
Oh, wow.
But he wouldn't pay me. So then my car got repoed. And then he goes, I can't have a youth pastor get his car repoed. And I literally looked at him. I was like, you know, dude, I'm done.
Yeah, good for you.
I'm
That wasn't right.
No,
That wasn't good to be there
I was
anyways.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So that was all happening at the same time. I'm like
Having
dealing with-
these thoughts.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, I could see why you were having a tough
it
time.
was brutal.
Yeah.
And I'm still to this day, I work it out through therapy a lot, but maybe it's part of the reason why I'm really pessimistic about different things.
Mhm.
I have to disconnect from pastors so quickly
Really.
because I believed everything every pastor said to me up to that point.
Yeah. Whenever they said the Lord is telling
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
So it had me going, dog, am I gay?
Right.
And I remember at one point, the Holy Spirit, I kind of heard it chuckle, like, do you think you're gay?
Right.
I was like, no.
No, definitely not.
But still, it was like, it made me feel worthless, like I couldn't do anything.
Well, that's a horrible thing. That's
Yeah.
why, I mean, when you say as a pastor, because people respect you as a pastor,
Mhm.
when you say the Lord is telling me these things,
Yeah.
you better make 100% sure
You
it's the
gotta
Lord. And if
know,
it's not
bro.
the Lord, don't say it.
Don't
Just
nothing.
say, here's what I think.
Yeah.
You know, because you're better off doing that
Yeah.
than trying to use the Lord's name in vain.
Yes.
I mean, that's a good example of using the Lord's name in vain.
Mhm.
I think pastors are way too quick to say that the Lord is speaking to them
Mhm.
and about wild subjects such as that, you know, that
Yes.
could really damage a person.
Yeah.
So to all the pastors out there, really be careful when you say the Lord is telling you something, because you better make sure it's from the Lord, because one day you're going to pay for that.
They're gonna have to deal with that.
They're going to have to deal with that.
They'll have to. And this pastor was wilding, bro. He was wilding.
Yeah. I wonder what he's up to today. Imagine he's just gay.
I don't think he's gay.
I feel like if somebody's after you that much for like being gay, whether you're gay or
Because
not,
he's hiding.
I feel like
that-
he's got
might
it
be gay.
suppressed. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's got to be a weird thing if you're obsessed with that much.
The way he did his church it's still going. His church is still going.
Wow.
But I will tell you there, because I don't live far from there. I actually drive past there a lot.
You should stop in one day.
I want to. I kind of want to. And I ran into him at BJ's.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I ran into him at BJ's for his birthday, and his whole family was there. He had the greatest family. His wife was probably the
Did he say hi to you?
yeah,
Ah,
but it was awkward.
right.
You know, he was like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey."
Were you with a guy?
I was. I had this.
That's even
It
worse.
sucked too. What
Yeah.
made it worse?
Or was it
is-
Josiah?
No, it was
Okay.
just like I had this guy who was kind of like my bodyguard. His name was Griff. He's
Okay.
big, huge black guy,
Oh,
and he's really solid, really cool, like cold.
right.
But you get a couple drinks in him,
Yeah.
he's really cuddly.
Oh,
So
oh no.
he had a toothache, so he kept telling the waitress, "Kept bringing me shots." Because
Yeah.
that's in his mind, that's how he handled the toothache.
Right. So he was all over you.
Dude,
No.
touching my shoulder, and I'm like, "Griff, get off me, bro. Get off me, man." That's-
Meanwhile, the pastor's like,
I
told
knew
you.
it. I told him.
I told
told
you.
him.
Oh,
I
that
was like,
sucks. dude.
"Dang,
Yeah,
man."
that's rough.
Yeah,
Man,
like don't give this man fuel.
now I'm starting to wonder, are you gay? No, I'm
I'm
kidding.
not gay. Not gay at
I
all.
know you're not, man. Come on.
But bro, it was heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking.
That was a tough season.
Yeah.
So it was a tough season. all in
Yeah,
all.
but you're out of it.
Thank God.
You're doing great now, man. You're killing it, bro.
I don't know if I'm killing it.
You know what? You're working towards it though.
I'm working.
And that's what matters.
Mhm.
You never give up. That's what I
Mhm.
like about you, bro.
I have this dog innate. I don't quit.
That's good.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes I feel like, man, I should be quitting.
hmm
Like I tell myself all the time, like, just let it go.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And
Don't.
I've done that before. where
There's
I'm
a
like,
reason. There's a reason God brought us together too, I think, you know,
Mhm.
after all these years.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, Roman, we see each other like all the time now.
Yeah.
You come to our shows, you perform in our shows
Yeah.
that we do, and you're in our movies.
Yeah. And you're directing my show.
And I'm directing your show, and I'm
Yeah.
in your show.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's a reason that God brought us together, you know.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we keep that tight.
Yeah.
Because you got a whole nother chapter coming up for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we all have to be ready for that.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
It's intense.
it's intense.
I feel it. I feel this intense moment
Yeah.
happening. And it's exhausting.
yeah.
But I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm being led to work as hard as I do physically.
Right.
Because I feel like something's coming that's going to be very demanding on us physically.
Okay.
Because I noticed you're getting healthy too.
Yeah, I don't know why. That just happened all of a sudden. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I felt something in my Holy Spirit telling me, just get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I'm not like preparing for any movies or anything.
Yeah.
But I feel really good, and I'm happy with the way that I'm looking, and I'll only progress from here because I'm just gonna keep doing the same process over and over again. But something keeps telling me there's a reason why I'm getting in shape, but I don't know why yet.
Man,
Yeah, maybe we're all gonna be in like a superhero movie.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right, sometimes I think just demand of what we're going after takes a toll.
Yeah,
just
and
on
you
your
got to be in
body.
shape to do it.
You got to be. You got to be.
Yeah, I found that working out and exercising really helps me get through a lot, and going to church and staying in the Word, because I've had like the busiest season of my life, but I'm not tired. I don't feel tired. Now you could say, "Oh, Charlie, you're young. You're 25," but I got these 25-year-olds out there like having back problems.
No, yes.
And they're like dying. And they're like they're in the hospital every week. I'm like, what are you guys doing to yourselves?
I've seen them.
We shouldn't be like that.
No.
But I think that's why it's important to maintain a good, physical fitness, but as well as spiritual fitness. Because it says in the, Paul says in the New Testament, what good is physical training if you're not, training your spirit up, because they're both of good value, and you got to keep both of them up. Always keep your spiritual training a little bit above your physical training, and you'll be good. But I agree. I think it's because we have a busy season coming for us, and we need to be alert for it. And I think exercise helps you feel alert.
Yeah.
I think we need to be in shape for it, because there's a lot of moving when things get busy,
Yeah.
And there's a lot that needs to be done, but we could do it. That's the thing, because God won't give you anything more than you can handle. However, it's up to you to get in shape for that. And I think that's why God's calling everybody, a lot of people. Kyle and Kyle are working their asses too in the gym, And I think it's important that everybody really starts to work on themselves, especially when you want to start getting successful. Get up early, go to the gym, get in your Word, because it really sets you off for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that's what I found out to be the case for me, especially with all these rehearsals and stuff going on. I haven't really had like the chance to like take a chill day. I'm excited because this weekend I'm going to Reno to visit my brother, and that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to the rib cook-off, which I'm super looking forward to. Yeah, there's like this, dude, the rib cook-off in Reno is like out of this world. It's supposed to be the best ribs ever. I want
to go to Reno.
Yeah, Reno's cool, man.
I've never been.
It's dope. I like it. Like, I've been once, and it's just like, it's like a little mini Vegas. There's like casinos and really good restaurants.
Is that where your brother lives in Reno?
My brother lives there. He runs a company out there, him and his wife. And they're doing great, and I love them. My brother's my best friend, so I love hanging out with them. And whenever I get the chance to go out there, I do. But they bought me a VIP ticket to the rib cook-off, so I'm going next week.
Nice.
And I'm really looking forward to that, because I'll get a couple of days off, But I don't know. I find myself like not wanting as many days off, especially at this time of my life.
Yeah.
Because I really like what I'm doing, and I want to keep doing it, because I know when you plant seeds, they grow, but you got to keep planting them.
Yeah. I remember talking to you one day, a couple of weeks ago, and you had a calendar.
Yep.
You're trying to implement a calendar into your life.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's interesting because I have the calendar and I write things in it. And I always, at the beginning of every month, I'll write like a prayer.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to write things down. And so I'm writing things down on it, and I'm writing dates so I don't forget. But then like I also use my phone. So like I have a phone calendar. So I use both of them.
Yeah.
I go back and forth from my phone to my actual calendar, and it works. I mean, it's working out pretty good. I could be doing better at the calendar.
Yeah.
I have a voice teacher, and she's the greatest voice teacher on this planet. And she also is like a life coach. So she like helps me through planning things for my life. So she was the one who told me to invest in the planner, but apparently I invested in the wrong one. She got really mad at me because the planner that I got, it's like your standard planner. Like it's got like the little squares and stuff.
Yeah.
But she's got a planner where it's like, it goes day to day. You turn the page and it's a new day.
Yes.
And it's like this thick, and it has timestamps on it.
Oh, wow.
7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And she has her whole day planned out.
Wow.
Whereas I only have like these little squares. And she told me, she goes, small calendar, small dreams.
Shoot.
So now I gotta invest in a bigger calendar. So I'm working on that because
Yeah.
I got big dreams, and I gotta be able to write them all in the space that I have them.
Oh yeah,
But I'm pulling through with the calendar I have.
That's
but
cool.
pulling through is not good enough.
I got this calendar that's like that. It's not that thick,
Right.
but it breaks it down monthly, weekly, daily.
Okay.
And then every day I turn the page and, my day is set up from each hour.
Yeah.
And then, but on the side, there's journals
Right.
and with questions
Okay.
that I start the day off on this side. And when I end the day, I kind of reflect on the right.
Right.
So it asks you questions before your day starts, you fill it out. And then it asks you corresponding questions at the end of the day to reflect.
Okay.
And it's really poignant. Like, who's one person in your life that you're going to live today for?
Okay.
And I'll be like, Charlie.
Ah.
And then they'll say, how can that work for Charlie or whatever?
Yeah.
What can you do for him today?
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that.
What's the theme and then at the beginning of the week, what's the theme for this week?
Right.
What's your ultimate goal?
Yeah.
At Saturday night, Sunday night, whenever you're done, what do you want to be accomplished? How do you want to feel?
Uh-huh.
And then it helps me kind of plan better
Yeah.
when I do that.
I think that's cool, man, because it
Yeah.
helps you organize it in your mind.
Mhm.
And you start the day with a goal,
Mhm.
which I think is important to do.
Yeah.
I think if you go into the day with an objective in mind,
Yeah.
I think you're going to end up having a good day, especially when you accomplish that objective.
Yeah. Because it really is, and it keeps me focused on different things and people too. It always
Right.
has me think about somebody.
Yeah.
The last question of every day is, who have you not reached out to that you can?
And do you reach out to them?
I could get better.
Yeah. I
can
think
get
we all
better.
can. I think we're afraid to reach out to people,
It's
which I don't
hard.
know why, because do you like being reached out to?
I love it.
We love being reached out to. And
I
we
do.
think it's weird if we reach out to somebody
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, they're going to think we're weird. But
Yeah.
I think I reached out to a couple of people the other day
Mm-hmm.
and I felt really good about it. And I think they felt really good about it too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just people that God put on my mind and I just reached out to them
Yeah.
just to see how they were doing. And, sometimes they won't respond, but the ones who do, I think, are the ones who really appreciate that. And I think that's the reason why God told you to do that,
Mhm.
But I think especially when you're in grind mode, you seem to forget about other people. A lot of the focus comes on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing to focus on yourself because it helps you get, things going. But you can't forget about those around you. You can't forget about your brothers and sisters
Right.
in Christ,
Yeah.
So I think even when you are on that path and things are going well, even when things aren't going well, I think it's important to just take a moment, stop, and remember those around you
Mhm.
because everybody's on the same journey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Especially if you're in our field.
Yeah.
The entertainment field's crazy,
Yes.
And I think we all need to check up on each other, especially when you're brave enough to do your own thing. You have your own thing. I have my own thing. We are counting on nobody else
Yes.
to help us except God. So I think it's important to stay strong during that. I think the only reason you can stay strong is by having good friends around you and a good church community. I think is really important. And then having, the strength of God.
Yeah.
The only way I've been able to get through.
You seem like a pretty strong person. I've always thought of you as a strong person, but do you get scared when you think about, man, I'm out here on my own? Does that ever scare you?
It doesn't scare me. It doesn't scare me because, and I'm being honest with you, I wish I could tell you that it did scare me because that
Mhm.
might seem more relatable, but I don't get scared of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I don't get scared about what is my ultimate destination because I know that's in God's hands.
Mhm.
I know that I'm doing everything I can be doing right now. Literally, I know I'm doing it. Otherwise, I'd feel guilty. But I know I'm doing everything I'm doing right now for my better future. Wherever that future is, whether it's in entertainment or ministry, which I think the two go hand in hand.
Mhm.
I think you could do both of them. And we've had that conversation. Wherever it's at, or even if it's just settling down and having a family, and helping them through life, I think that that's all up to God, but I'm doing everything I can do right now until he leads me to that final destination,
Mhm.
and then when I'm in that destination, you still don't give up. You still got to keep working,
Yeah.
And so when you ask if I'm scared, I'm not scared. I think about things a lot. I think about, okay, I'm 25 now.
Mhm.
I do want to get married one day. I do want to have kids. Right now, there's not really a whole lot of potential candidates, but they're there. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm very picky when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You are picky.
You know what I mean? Because I could be I could be dating somebody right now, but
there's
I
like a
don't.
handful of women that just being around you, I see,
Mm-hmm.
and in my head, I go, I'd pick that one for Charlie.
Oh,
And
thanks,
I know, and same with Kyle. I'm like, I picked that one for Kyle, that one for Charlie, and I know both of you are very picky,
right?
so I'm like, I don't even mention it. I'm like,
Right.
because I know that. But are you picky to the point where it's like, oh no, because she has.
You know what I think is funny, dude? No, it's not about that.
Okay.
I think what it is, it's like I get like really, I'll like a girl, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when she likes me, like I'll get over it for some reason. I always like girls who aren't like showing me that much attention. But I think that's like true as men, right? We always want what we can't have.
Yeah.
So like I always say I'm in love with this girl right now. And you know, she always gives me a little bit of attention. And then like she'll just stop giving me attention. And that makes me want her more. You know, that's just how we are as men.
Yeah.
So like my mind is constantly, I'm very committed, you know. So my mind is constantly on that girl. So the hottest chick could walk in and she could be liking me and like showing me affection, but I'll still be thinking about that one girl, you know, because and she may not even be as attractive as that girl. That proves that I'm not shallow.
Yeah.
But my mind is still on her because maybe she's just different than the rest, you know?
Yeah.
And that's usually how it goes when I'm like in love like with somebody or when I like a girl, you know? But I think it's all fun and games, but I truly believe that I don't think God has a specific person that you're supposed to end up with.
Right.
I don't really believe in like a soulmate. I think we have a lot of soulmates, both men and women, you know, we're soulmates, you know.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people God puts in your life for a reason, you know, to better fulfill his plan and your plan for your life. But I think when it comes to like a spouse or a person, I believe that God gives you a lot of options, and whatever you decide to go for, you got to make that covenant.
Yeah.
And as soon as you make that covenant in marriage, God takes it from there. However, you still have to work on it. But he gives you the opportunity to choose. So I'm very picky. I'll choose one, you know, when I want to choose one, when the right one comes along, you know. But you know, it's just right now it's just a lot of fun, you know.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
Cool.
I've seen things and I've never said anything to you. Like,
yeah,
I wonder.
Yeah,
I'll let it go.
Yep,
that's hilarious.
It is pretty funny. Yeah, it's fun. I have a lot of friends though, and they're all really good people. And I just like being friends. I don't like ruining friendships either.
That's true.
You know, because I like having. It is the worst, you know, when you, especially if you have the opposite sex. You know, I always say you can't really be friends. Two straight people, men and women, it's hard to just be friends because, especially if you're good looking and you're attracted to each other, because there's always something there that they want. You know, there's always going to be something more. But as long as you don't act on that something more, you can stay friends. And I think it's important to have a lot of friends too.
Yeah.
And I like having good looking friends.
Yeah. You do have some good looking friends. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, you're one of them.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks. Oh, man. So I could tell you were losing weight because we saw your show.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Thanks.
And I was looking at you on stage. I was like, yo, man, he's got a good jawline going right now.
Thank you, man. Thanks. You can see it better on this side.
Yeah, you can. But you had a show this weekend.
Yeah. Diaries of Adam and Eve.
That's what it was. Diaries of Mark Twain.
It's a great show.
It was
Did you like it?
I did.
You came in like halfway through, but you know the story.
I knew the story.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. You knew what was going on. And catch up.
It's hard when I come to American Cheese to do something.
Yeah.
Because I got to go through the lobby.
Yeah.
And I always get stopped.
Right.
And have conversations.
Because people know you.
Yeah.
You're a celebrity at American Cheese, man.
Sometimes I feel like I am because I walk in there. And so I'm like, oh, yeah. And we're talking.
Yeah.
We're shooting the breeze. I texted you before. I was like, so are you starting late? Because we were running late to get there.
Yeah, but not that late. You say, are you starting late? The show starts at 8:00. He texted me at 7:55. Are you starting late? And I said, yeah, we're probably going to start at like 10 minutes late because we were still waiting on a few people.
Yeah.
And you can't, this guy comes out like 8:35.
That's the celebrity.
You still got like half the show, though.
I got a good part.
Yeah, dude. Fashionably late.
It was a great show, though.
It was great.
Great show. I didn't miss Colonel Sanders, which I realized later was Mark Twain. But my head was like,
why is Colonel Sanders in the show?
Colonel Sanders in the show?
Everybody thought it was Colonel Sanders. It was a fun play, though.
Yeah.
You know, that was definitely it was a success for us, and it was our first stage play that we put on in our American Cheese Community Theater. which is in Orange, out of our church, Brand New Life Christian Center.
Mhm.
And it was really fun to be able to put a live play on. A lot of work that goes into it, but yeah, I felt really good during that play because, as you were saying, I've what were you saying about me?
You look good.
Thanks, dude.
You were looking good. On
I don't
stage.
want to say it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were looking good. I was
Thank
like,
you, dude.
my man, he's clean up. I'm not just clean up, but you're getting fit.
Appreciate it.
Like the suit you wore
Yeah.
in the play
Mhm.
was like amazing.
Yeah, man.
I was like, that's a clean suit.
Yeah, the most like it was a lot of fun hearing what people thought about the
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it had to just do with the way I looked. I was like, did I do a good job acting?
You did a great job.
Thanks, dude.
Well, you're a great actor.
Thank you, bro.
You're a great actor.
Appreciate it,
And
man.
it was a great show.
Yeah, it was fun.
And the girl who played Eve,
Yeah, she's great.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
She was
Awesome.
phenomenal.
Yeah. She's a really good
Like
friend of
everything.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was why did you choose that play?
Chose that play. Funny story. It's the first time I'm saying this, and I'm gonna say it on Epic Thoughts. Okay.
All
I
right.
didn't want to tell anybody this. But I just
Okay.
feel like it's time for the truth to come out because why not?
Yes.
I auditioned for that play
Uh-huh.
during COVID
Uh-huh.
with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And I didn't get the part. I didn't get
Oh.
called back. I didn't even get a call back for it. And it was
Wow.
on Zoom.
Mhm.
And I hated having an audition on Zoom
Mhm.
because everybody else like knew how to do it. Like they were like on their computer looking at it, but I was like thought I was being a really good actor, so I printed out the script and I was reading it on Zoom. But if you know anything about acting on Zoom, it doesn't look good when you're looking down at the script,
Right.
reading it.
Yes.
If you're in like a live audition, it's different. They tell you to have the book in your hand.
Mhm.
Everybody else looked like they were memorized because they were looking at it on their computer screens. And here I was like fiddling with the script and like missing words because I was like trying to keep up with Zoom.
Mhm.
So my audition was not well. So I didn't end up being in that production, but I really liked the script.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. And that was during COVID. So I don't even think it was like a live production. I think they like filmed it or something.
Yeah.
But a couple of years went by and I was doing a show for the New Voices Playwrights in
Mhm.
Orange, which is a bunch of new plays. And I worked with a director named Jeffrey Greed. Great guy. And we had rehearsals at his house. And during the rehearsal process, he's got a bunch of like books and stuff on his shelf. And one of the books that I spotted was Mark Twain's The Diaries of Adam and Eve.
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, Jeff, I really like that show. I'd love to do that one day if you're ever thinking about doing it. And he said, I've always wanted to do that show. He's a very enthusiastic guy.
Wow.
I've always wanted to do that show, Charlie. Maybe we'll do it someday. And I said, that'd be a good thing. And so about a couple months went by and he like came up with this whole itinerary. He's a very organized guy and he presented it to me and he said, look, I know this is when we started building the theater at the time. We were building the stage and the lights and everything. He said, look, I know you're in the works of having your own venue and doing live shows. How would you feel if we brought this play to the venue and you'd be playing the role of Adam and we could get somebody to play Eve? And I immediately said, yeah. So we started working on it right away. It was like a year process. I think the first meeting we had was last August.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been exactly a year. And, Christmas came and we had shows and you were in the Christmas show and we did a couple movies and stuff. And finally, once about May rolled around, we went full throttle for The Diaries of Adam and Eve. Got the scripts, got the rights to the play, casted Eve, looked at a few different actresses for Eve. Emily was the best. And then I went away for a few weeks, and then July 10th, we started rehearsals, and then we ran for 2 weekends,
Nice.
and it ended up being a really good time. Everybody who saw it, I think, was really moved, which I think is good because it's a funny play, but it's also a very sad play.
Mhm.
And it's a love story, really. It's
Yeah.
not what you think Adam and Eve would be.
Yeah.
It's a love story. It's a story about love.
Yeah.
And it just happened to use the first two people of all time.
Yeah.
But that went well. I met with the director today, and we're looking at doing some things in the future, and there's a lot of good ideas coming up. So,
It was a great play.
yeah.
Great play. And I even thought to myself, like, Mark Twain wrote this? While I was watching it, I was like,
Mark Twain was really funny. People don't realize that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I never thought of him to be funny.
Yeah, Kyle Hill was the one who told me that Mark Twain's like known for being like one of the funniest writers of all time. They have an
Really?
award for comedians called the Mark Twain Award.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because Mark Twain was so funny.
I didn't
And
make that connection.
if you read a lot of his literature, it is funny. I grew up reading Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, and
Mhm.
I loved those books.
Now I should watch it again with a different mindset.
Exactly,
That
because the
maybe he's trying to
humor
be
is
funny.
smart.
Yeah.
because people back then were smart.
Mhm.
Now we look at, the dumbest things and we crack up.
Crack up.
Yeah. But the play like Mark Twain's Diaries of Adam and Eve, you kind of have to be smart to really comprehend it.
Mhm.
But if it's done right by the actors, you don't, it
Yes.
could be funny either way.
Mhm.
And I think Emily did a great job. I think we worked well together.
It was great.
And I heard that by a lot of people.
Yes.
And
It was good
she's amazing. She did such a good job.
Yeah.
And I was just happy to work with her.
They had some great talent in that.
Mhm.
And the directing was fine. Everything
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah, it was cool.
And so you're working on other shows. Any more movies? What movies you got coming up?
So we got a movie coming up. So a couple of months ago, a few months ago maybe, we released The Rizzler.
Mm-hmm.
The Rizzler, a Simp Chronicle. And that was on American Cheese Studios on YouTube because we make short films. And we're kind of making a universe based around the characters that we created in The Rizzler. Because The Rizzler was our most successful short film that we put out. And Kyle McRae, Cold Hard Cam is in it, and his followers really liked the movie. So I was like, why not make other movies based around that movie?
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of making a follow-up to The Rizzler, and it's called, working title, it may change, but right now it's called Love and Riz, a
Mhm.
Simp Chronicle. And it's a really fun movie, man. There's a lot of hot chicks in it. There's a lot of good-looking dudes in it.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really funny when you guys watch it. You're going to be like, how did this happen? How did you guys go about? This is the craziest one yet, but it's definitely going to be, it was the most ambitious one too. So it's probably going to be long. That's why we should just make a feature at this point. We're talking about making a feature right now. I'm really excited about that too. Our first feature, but this movie should be coming out in the next few weeks, hopefully sooner. And so keep an eye out for that. Love and Riz.
Love and Riz.
And Christmas is coming up too. So we got some plans for that.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
American Cheese Studios, man.
Check it out.
Gotta check it
American
out.
Cheese, represent.
Represent American Cheese. Man, thanks for coming out, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ro.
I'm glad you came.
Hey, I'm glad
We
I came
we
too.
always do this. You always come on and do Epic Thoughts, and we
Yeah.
always end with saying, man, you should do more of these
I know, man. We should.
easily.
We should keep going on, man.
We can.
We will.
We
We'll
could
come
talk
back.
about so many different
We
things.
could go off. I mean, we started off right today.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we started off with Trump. That was cool. I like that, man. Everybody who clicks on it's gonna they're gonna know right away if they don't already. Everybody knows.
So you okay, so we'll close with this. We'll finish with Trump.
Okay, yeah. I like this Trump sandwich.
Yeah, we'll finish with a Trump sandwich. Do you see him being president again?
Yes.
Really?
100%.
Really?
Think about it. They haven't been able to stop him at
I-
all. His poll numbers keep going up and up and up and up and up. He's even beating Joe Biden in national poll numbers.
Ugh.
So I think if he loses again, it's going to be pretty obvious that it was.
Something went wrong. I can't say because again, I have to wait till like next year when January comes around. Maybe I'll get another idea. But right now in my head, I can't really dispute you because
Yeah.
I don't see anything different happening.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at the candidates that we have
Yep.
that we're dealing with, which makes I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a Democrat. If anything, I'm a libertarian before anything, but I lean right.
Okay.
But I can't grasp the game plan
Yeah.
on the Democrat side.
Right.
Like the article I read about Newsom,
Yeah.
which is my moral enemy.
Yeah.
Moral enemy, bro. Like
I hope you guys meet one day and become
I hope
friends.
so too.
Yeah.
Become friends.
Yeah, I hope he's on the show and you guys could just talk about your
Hey,
differences.
If he wants to come with Epic Thoughts,
Yeah.
he's more.
The thing about Newsom is like you don't like him, right? Because of what he stands for. But I feel like he's like a cool guy if he wasn't a politician. I just
If
think he was.
wasn't a
I think he was
politician.
born in the wrong family.
Oh yeah,
You know.
for sure.
I think that's what it is.
For sure.
I don't think he wants to do what he's doing. I think they're just making him
I
do
think
it.
so. It could be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I could just do whatever I want.
Right.
No one's going to
Exactly.
say anything. But the fact that he even thought about doing running for the president scared me.
Yeah.
But then when I saw how responsive the Democratic Party was to it, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, y'all don't have a plan. At
Well, they just
all.
want somebody who can talk.
But they don't. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be a decent politician, you know?
No, he'd be horrible. If the Democrats were smart, they would put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a nominee, and it'd be Trump versus Kennedy. That'd be dope. First of all,
That'd be
and I wouldn't
be
even,
epic.
and that'd be epic. And I think it would really give Trump something to fight for and Kennedy something to fight for. But ultimately, I think we could get back to a form of democracy.
With either one.
Yeah, but I think the Democrats are afraid of Kennedy because he's really not like a liberal. You know what I mean? He's not one of them.
He doesn't buy into a lot of that.
He's anti-establishment, which is huge, you know, and they are the establishment.
See, a Democrat that's anti-establishment, that piques my ears.
Well, that's like Kennedy, dude, JFK. So,
and that's what Wong was, Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
He was like that.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really remember him too
They
much.
didn't give him a lot of screen time.
Yeah, well, because they don't like those kind of guys.
No.
Yeah.
And he was young and he had ideas.
Right.
And
but as far as Trump, I think Trump gets 4 more years and then we'll see what happens after that.
Man. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You heard it here first. Trump's going to get 4 more years.
That's right.
Man, thanks for coming, man. What time is it? Oh, yeah. We were right at the time.
Right at the time.
Yep.
And be sure to tune in to Bible Time with Charlie on Tuesdays, every Tuesday morning, youtube.com/@Bible Time with Charlie. And you can follow us on Instagram @CharcoalPro and on TikTok @Charlie.Battaglia. And stay tuned for all things American Cheese. That's youtube.com/@American Cheese Studios and all the social medias @American Cheese Studios.
That's right. And you get all the Heritage Park stuff too, heritageparkprod.com. And our number line is still up, but it's only going to be up for a couple more weeks. We're not getting as much response to the number line, but 848-207-2631. It's the text line. It's going to be up for maybe a couple more weeks. Mid-September, it's going to go down. All the numbers are going to be changed by mid-September. We'll make some shifts. And even the website will change. But, man, stay connected, man. American Cheese, Charcoal Pro, Charlie Battaglia. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Ramon, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Always fun.
Yes. Until next week, man. We'll see you later. Peace out.